Let's talk about peptides, because really, you cannot have a real conversation about longevity in 2026 without talking about peptides. So today I thought I would walk you through my personal peptide stack as a woman over 50, what I've been using, why I use it, and how it's helped me. Plus, I want to talk to you about the next peptide I'm going to try, which I already know will end up being the most controversial part of this entire conversation. Pretty fascinating considering most of what I'm about to discuss exists in that gray area where innovation tends to live long before regulation and the FDA catches up. But listen, none of this is medical advice. This is simply me talking openly about what I've researched, what I've experimented with, and what I've discussed with my practitioners. I have been using peptides for a few years, but I recently found a great doctor out of Texas who not only has given me a protocol based on my blood work and my needs, but he also has a lab here in the United States, and he also does third-party testing on the peptides. So I love using him because it takes the guesswork out of reconstitution. Everything comes labeled with full instructions, so the fear factor is minimized. Let's start with NAD, because this is integral to my entire longevity protocol and because it was the very first thing I started doing. NAD is not actually a peptide. It is also not entirely a vitamin. It does fall under the supplement category with the FDA. So it's not approved for longevity per se, but an IV drip of NAD is perfectly legal. I did my very first NAD drip. It took hours and I got very nauseous. But afterwards, I felt amazing and I swore I could even see more clearly. I thought my eyesight was better. I had a clearer mind, I had better energy, and I felt great. I wanted to do them again. But those drips were hard on me, time-wise, and also I don't like feeling nauseous for hours. So when I found out that they could be prescribed in a low-dose shot form and that I could do them at home, that's exactly what I did. So I do 5 days a week, 20 to 50 micrograms, and it's a great way to start the morning. So what is NAD? NAD is a coenzyme naturally found in every single cell in your body. Your body makes it from vitamin B3, and its main job is energy production at the cellular level, at the mitochondrial level. Now that sounds really scientific and abstract until you're a woman over 50 and you suddenly realize that my internal battery drains really fast, faster than it used to. And that is normal because your NAD levels naturally decline with age. So since NAD is deeply involved in mitochondrial function, it basically aids in the energy factories inside of your cells. It also plays a role in DNA repair, cellular repair, inflammation, in your metabolism. In general, it gets to the root of pretty much all the aging pathways. So for me, NAD isn't just about chasing youth per se, it's about turning back the clock at a cellular level. NAD and its precursors like NMN have been heavily researched in aging and in metabolic health. So in fact, NMN and NAD are the molecule that the Harvard scientist David Sinclair, who we already talked about, he has been working with and researching for years. You could check out his mice study on fertility where essentially 60-year-old mice, in human age, have the ovaries of 20-year-olds. It's amazing what they are finding that this molecule can do. It's literally the fountain of youth if you can get it in its bioavailable form. Okay, next in my stack is an actual peptide. Well, it's actually two. It's BPC 157 and TB 500. These are my recovery peptides, and I use them in two different ways. I have them compounded together, which is how my doctor originally prescribed them for me, and I have BPC on its own as well. I asked him to send that to me separately because I wanted to inject it into my pain points and see if it worked. I am happy to report that it did work. Okay, so first let me explain what BPC 157 is. It is body protective compound, and studies are showing that it actually helps repair tendons and cure injuries that were usually thought of as incurable without surgery. Basically, it can significantly accelerate muscle and tendon repair, and it works by reducing inflammation, promoting new blood vessel formation, and increasing collagen production. I would say BPC is the gateway peptide. Just about every gym bro out there extols its virtue. It's extremely safe and most people can feel it working, so that's why it's a great one to start with. For me, I was using it to repair tennis elbow, or more accurately, pickleball elbow. I was going to a chiropractor 3 days a week, PT as well, and both of those were not moving the recovery along fast enough. But once I started injecting it directly into the site, so I injected it here, here, and here sometimes, I started getting relief. So I know for me, this works. In the combo shot, it's combined with TB500, which is a synthetic version of thymosin beta-4. And this promotes tissue repair and tissue regeneration. So in short, this is another healing and recovery peptide. It makes a great combo. I inject this 5 times a week in my stomach right here, and those overall aches and pains that we all talk about like old biddies at dinner, they fade a little bit more. Because you know what, you can work out hard, you can eat clean, sleep well, but if your body takes forever to bounce back, you feel it everywhere. You feel that old feeling, your joints, your inflammation, your energy, your motivation, your mood. So this is a good one because life in your 50s is basically one conversation about inflammation. So the next one is GHK-Cu, and it's part of a stack called GLOW. A lot of doctors call it GLOW or CLO with a K. If they have K in front of it, it has KPV, which is a peptide that reduces inflammation as well. But let's just talk about the copper peptide. And this is my skin and hair peptide, and this one really works. I have been battling hair fallout through perimenopause and just hair that won't grow long. And once I took this regularly with collagen in my coffee, I really noticed a difference. GHK-Cu has been studied for collagen production, skin repair, healing, elasticity, and hair support. Because as women age, collagen production drops hard and fast. And this peptide helps your body make it like it did when you were younger. So what I really like about GHK-Cu is that the results don't look overdone. You just start looking healthier, younger, more rested, more like your former self. If you just go to Reddit and look at some before and after pictures of people on GHK-Cu, the difference is absolutely incredible. Next in my stack is ipamorelin and CJC1295. And this is my sleep and repair stack. I mean, it's supposed to be my sleep and repair stack, and I say that because I'm still working on getting better sleep. But these peptides do work on signaling your body to release more of its own natural growth hormone. Okay, don't worry, this is not the same thing as taking synthetic HGH. It just stimulates your pituitary to remember to make some more. And this is the one peptide out of all of these that I've talked about that I can't quite tell if it's working for me because I do still get up for 3 a.m. wake-ups. So it hasn't completely solved the sleep problem. Okay, and now the controversial one. This is the one that's on the tip of everyone's tongue. That's retatrutide, or as the gym bros say, Retta. Retta is part GLP-1, and some people call it GLP-3, which is a little bit of a misnomer because it actually acts on 3 different pathways, which is where the 3 comes from, but it's not just the GLP. So the GLP part is just one of the processes, and that's the one that suppresses your appetite, which is exactly what happens with Ozempic. So first there was Ozempic, and then there was tirzepatide, or Mounjaro, which has 2 compounds in it. So it has a GLP-1 and a GIP, which is a glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. What that does is it regulates your blood sugar levels, which is very good for anti-aging, and it also has an action in there that promotes bone growth, which is very good for women of a certain age. So Tirs has those 2 peptides in it, and Retta has a 3rd one, glucagon. And what this does is it essentially mobilizes fat. So this one is loved by the gym bros because it lets them bulk up while also trimming down and showing their muscle definition. Right now, Eli Lilly is in phase 3 trials on this. It will be coming out soon, and everyone is singing its praises. But the big idea here is that it's great for longevity because it dramatically reduces visceral fat. It reverses fatty liver disease, and it improves insulin sensitivity, reducing systemic inflammation. So it's supposed to be a metabolic reset, and that's why I really want to try it. Honestly, you can actually see it changing your face, okay? Apparently, this is happening with the action of glycation because by lowering your blood sugar, it reduces the availability of the sugars that cause glycation. So that's the process that is essentially aging your skin. And I only know this because I have a friend that looks so good on it. I swear it was her skin that made me finally want to try one of these GLPs. Her skin has the quality of a younger, like a much younger woman. She was also 20 pounds lighter, which I wouldn't mind, but the skin is what made me want to ask my doctor about it. I already know he thinks it's right for me, as he had originally prescribed it at my very first meeting with him. I said I wanted to try the stack of peptides first because I was trying to avoid the GLP thing. I didn't like the idea that it slowed down digestion, as I've worked hard on gut health in the past, and I believe that it's a very important health pathway. So I guess in general, I thought it was a form of cheating in terms of the weight loss part, and that there had to be something bad consequence-wise for taking a shortcut. But the time for judgment on that has changed, and as soon as I can, I'm gonna try some Retta and report back. So that's my list of current peptides. At my next appointment, I'm gonna see what else I can add. I'll maybe dive deeper into some sleep peptides and see what the doctor has to say. As you know, my true age is 11 years younger than my biological age. I think that these peptides and the NAD are one of the main causes for that. Can't wait to update you guys on how it's all going.